Hello everyone, I am Risha and this is For the Love of Classics. Today's video is going to be a tag video. I saw the Amiable Bib do a book tag. The tag sounded super fun and I decided to do it as well. The original creator of this book tag is Princess of Paperback. I'm going to link both of their videos down below so you can check them out as well. So the first prompt is laying in bed, and it is a book you could or have read in a day. I really like to read books in bed, and there have been a couple of books which I have read in bed and I've finished them in one day. And for me, the first one would be Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I have vivid memories of finishing these books in one day, even though they are some of the longest books in the Harry Potter series. I was transfixed with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows because I wanted to know how the series would end. So I binge read that book in one sitting and I had an amazing experience reading that book. When it comes to classics, there is one book which I binge read, and that was Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. Classics usually have language which is a bit more complicated and requires more attention, but I read Agnes Grey in one sitting in one day and absolutely loved it. The second prompt is snacking. A guilty pleasure book. My guilty pleasure books are Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen and Persuasion by Jane Austen. Whenever I am feeling really low or sad, I usually go to these books and I read my favorite passages from these books. Jane Austen's sense of humor and her beautiful writing brings me out of my reading slumps and my bad moods. I especially like the letters in these books, the one which Mr. Darcy wrote to Elizabeth Bennet and the one which Captain Wentworth wrote to Anne Elliot. I can listen no longer in silence. I must speak to you by such means as are within my reach. You pierce my soul, I am half agony, half hope. The third prompt is Netflix, a series you want to start. So I'll just check my Netflix. There are so many series I want to start, but honestly, I'm so scared of starting series on Netflix. I prefer watching movies as compared to series because series are such a commitment, but there are a couple of series on Netflix which I want to see soon. So the series I want to watch on Netflix are mostly historical or related to books. So I want to watch The Frankenstein Chronicles, History 101, Troy, The Fall of a City, and Rise of Empires Ottoman. If you would like to recommend any Netflix series, please let me know down in the comments because I've got some spare time. The next prompt is Deep Clean, a book which has been on your TBR for ages. So I went to my Goodreads to be read shelf to see which of my TBR books have been on this shelf the longest. I'm going to share 3 of these. The first one is Vanity Fair by William Makepeace Thackeray. This has been on my TBR since the year 2012. So it has been there for almost 7 years now. And since 7 is a magical number, I should probably start reading Vanity Fair this year. The next book which has been on my TBR for a while is A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. And the third one which has been on my TBR for a while is The Iliad by Homer. One of the first videos on my channel was a classics book haul, and these were the 2 classics I hauled in that video. The next prompt is Animal Crossing, a book you recently bought because of the hype. So I bought Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier because of the hype recently, and I have finished reading this book and I really enjoyed it. Another classic which I have recently hauled is Marriage by Susan Ferrier, and the reason I bought it is because I heard a lot of booktubers talk about how amazing this book was. So I'm very excited to start reading this one. This is in the Virago Modern Classics edition. I think it is one of the best book covers in existence. The next prompt is Productivity, a book you learned from or a book which had an impact on you. There have been so many books which have impacted me throughout my life. One of the books which drew me towards classics and made me fall in love with this genre of literature was Middlemarch by George Eliot. This book basically made me decide that I really want to read more classics. So this is definitely one of those game-changing books for me. Another book which I am learning a lot from as I read it is The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I am currently reading this masterpiece, and believe me when I say it, it's not an easy book to read. It's taking me forever to read because it requires a lot of concentration and headspace to understand what Dostoevsky is trying to say. But this writer is brilliant. He is a philosopher through and through. When it comes to the plot, we have only been through a couple of days in the life of these characters. I'm halfway done through the book and I have learned so much already. This book brought tears to my eyes. It's deep, it's emotional, it's true and heart-wrenching, and I am loving it so much and learning so much from it as I read it. At one point, I decided to stop reading this book because it was so raw and emotional, and with everything that has been going on around us, I thought that it was a bit too much. But I've decided to continue with it because I just don't want to leave it halfway through. The next prompt is FaceTime, a book you were gifted. One of the first books which I was gifted was Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I remember one of my sisters gave that book to me, and I hadn't read the first 5 books in the series then. After reading the 6th book, I went and bought myself the first 5 books in the series. So that was one of the best gifts I have been given in my life. Another book which I was gifted was The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. I was gifted the Quran by my aunt on my wedding, so that was a very dear gift. The books which I have been gifted recently are The Small House at Allington by Anthony Trollope. This was another present from my sister. The Warden by Anthony Trollope. This was a present from my father-in-law. The next prompt is self-care. What is one thing you have done recently to look after yourself? The one thing I'm doing for myself at the moment would be read. I have been reading for fun. I've been filming content for my channel for fun. I also made a couple of TikToks. I'm never going to show them to anyone, but I just made them for myself. So the last prompt is a bonus, and it says that name a book which is coming out soon. I'm so bad at keeping up with recent releases and I don't know many. So I guess there will be no bonus points for me. If you know any new releases which you are excited about, let me know down in the comments. And that's it. This was another fun video I did for self-care. So I hope you guys enjoyed this as well. If you have any suggestions for other videos, please let me know down in the comments. I also want to do a Q&A video, so if you have any questions you want to ask, please ask in the comments down below. I'm going to see you all in my next video very soon. Bye.